Welcome back for another deep dive. You know, today we're looking at something that I think is super relevant to really everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nonverbal power cues.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed how some people just kind of
Oh,
command attention even without
yeah.
saying a word?
Definitely.
Like, what is that?
Yeah,
That's what we're going to unpack today.
for sure.
We're going to be looking at a 1998 study from the Journal of Social Psychology
Yeah.
by Guinness,
Interesting.
Simonson, and Pierce.
Mm.
And they explored how nonverbal behaviors can actually influence how people perceive your power.
Fascinating.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand how seemingly small things, like
Okay.
your facial expressions or even your eye contact, can impact how powerful you seem to other people.
It really is amazing how much we communicate, just with those little subtle cues.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And the study uses this framework of the 6 power bases
Right.
that were identified by French and Raven
Yes.
and their reward power,
Mm-hmm.
coercive power,
Right.
legitimate referent power,
Yes.
expert power, and
Uh-huh.
credibility power.
Credibility power.
I love that credibility is like a power base.
I know, it's really interesting.
What do you think?
Oh, it is a wonderful tool when you think about it,
Yeah.
because people with high credibility are just more likely to be believed and followed.
Right.
So yeah, I think it definitely makes sense as a
Yeah.
power base.
Totally.
And this study looked at how 3 specific nonverbal behaviors
Okay.
influence perceptions of each of these power bases.
Got it.
And those were facial expressions,
Okay.
eye contact, and body posture.
Okay, so let's start with the facial expressions.
Sure.
So the study found that a relaxed facial expression actually increased perceptions of reward power,
Interesting.
but decreased perceptions of coercive power.
Okay.
So like imagine a boss who's always smiling
Mm-hmm.
versus one who always seems angry.
Right.
Which one seems more likely to give you a raise?
Well, yeah, I mean, a relaxed expression just signals approachability and positivity,
Right.
which are definitely qualities that we associate with reward.
Totally.
On the other hand, a tense or angry expression
Yeah.
can be intimidating and make you think of punishment.
It's true.
And we see this all the time, like with politicians or leaders
Totally.
who often smile really big when they're, promising positive things.
It's true. It's like they're tapping into that reward power.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so then what about eye contact?
Well, the study found that direct eye contact actually boosted perceptions of all the power bases.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Indirect eye contact, on the other hand, was
Yeah.
only linked to coercive power.
Like the laser focus eyes can be a little intimidating?
Well, I mean, direct eye contact is often associated with dominance and confidence,
Right.
which are traits that we naturally link to powerful people.
Yeah.
But then avoiding eye contact can be seen as submissive or even deceptive, which kind of aligns more with using force or threats to get what you want.
Which is coercive power.
Exactly.
Okay, now, this is something that surprised me.
Okay.
The study found that body posture actually had no significant effect on any of the power bases.
Interesting.
I would have thought like standing up straight would convey more authority.
Yeah. It's a common assumption.
Totally.
But it's important to remember that they were looking at how posture influences those 6 specific power bases, not just general perceptions of power.
Right.
So it's totally possible that posture plays a role in other aspects of nonverbal communication
Yeah.
that just weren't measured in this study.
Right.
Like there's so many nuances to this.
For sure. That's a good point. Research is always evolving. What's groundbreaking one year might be refined or even challenged later on.
Right, exactly.
But even though this was just one study, it still gives us like valuable insights.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me was that it emphasizes how nonverbal cues work together, like in real life situations.
Absolutely. It's not just one thing,
Okay.
Earlier research would focus on like individual cues in isolation.
Yeah.
But that's not how we communicate in the real world.
It's so dynamic.
It is.
And I thought it was cool that the study used vignettes,
Oh, yeah.
like those short descriptions of different social interactions,
Mm-hmm.
to try to create these like realistic scenarios for the people in the study to evaluate.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes the findings a little more relatable to our everyday lives.
Definitely, I agree. It adds a layer of,
Yeah.
real world application.
So what does this all mean for us?
Well,
Like, how can we use these findings?
I think the key takeaway here is awareness.
Okay.
We're often unaware of the nonverbal signals that we're sending out and
Mhm.
picking up on from others.
Right.
So by becoming more attuned to these cues,
Yeah.
we can gain a deeper understanding of the dynamics at play.
Okay, so it's not about, like, trying to manipulate people
No, not a...
with our nonverbal cues.
Right.
It's more about just being mindful
Exactly.
of how we're communicating.
Yeah, just being more conscious of it.
Yeah, both, like, intentionally and unintentionally.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about understanding, the subtle ways that these power dynamics are at play
Yeah.
in every interaction we have.
That raises a good question, though.
Okay.
Like, if we could consciously control these cues, how could we adjust them
Yeah.
to, like, project different types of power
Mm-hmm.
in different situations?
It's a really interesting question.
Like, how would that look different in a job interview versus giving a presentation
Right.
or just, like, talking to a friend?
Yeah, that's where it gets really fascinating.
Readily.
Like, imagine being able to adapt your nonverbal behaviors
Mm-hmm.
to better connect with your audience or build rapport or assert yourself more effectively.
It's almost like having this secret language.
Yeah.
But instead of words, it's all these subtle cues.
Exactly. And I think this study highlights how much potential there is for this, for personal and professional development.
A powerful tool.
It is.
Yeah, it really is like a secret language, right?
Totally.
And I think this deep dive gives our listeners a framework for understanding all of it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's valuable.
Especially these days when we're just, constantly bombarded with information.
Right.
Being able to assess and respond to nonverbal cues can give you a real advantage.
Yeah, in pretty much every situation.
Oh, for sure.
So to wrap up,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
I like it.
Okay, so over the next week, I want you to become like a nonverbal detective.
Ooh.
Okay. Pay attention to the people around you,
Mm-hmm.
their facial expressions,
Yeah.
their eye contact, their posture.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can kind of decode what's happening. Like, what are the power dynamics at play
Yeah.
in their interactions?
Oh, love it.
And while you're at it,
Okay.
experiment a little with your own nonverbal cues.
Yes.
See how even just small adjustments can change how people respond to you.
Right. Because the power to communicate effectively,
Yeah,
that's a skill we can all benefit from,
absolutely.
honing and developing.
Okay, that's it for this deep dive.
Great stuff.
We hope you found it insightful and empowering.
I did.
Until next time,
Yes.
happy observing.
Bye.